I am just checking to make sure that I am live. Come on in, y'all. Let's see if the numbers start to increase. And if they do, we're going to do a sound check. Then we will get started. It's part of this live stream tonight. Let's see. We are live. My phone has come up. I think we are good. Now let's do this, guys. Let me know if you can hear me. Send me a 1 in the chat if you can actually hear me. That would be very helpful. All right. It looks like we may be getting people coming into the room. Come on in. We're gonna take about 2 to 3 minutes before I get started. If you can hear me, send me a 1 in the chat. Send me a 1 in the chat. Come on in. All right, it looks like I'm getting some volume. That's good. That's good. Looks like I'm getting some volume. That is good. Guys, if you can hear me, send me a 1 in the chat. Come on in. We get started in roughly a couple minutes. I wanted to let people get an opportunity to join the conversation tonight. So come on in. And if you can hear me, send me a 1 in the chat. And how's my volume too, by the way? How's my volume? Volume good? I am not so good. Let me know. All right, looks like some people are coming into looks like the notifications just popped up. I just got it on my phone. So it's going to be interesting tonight, guys. I want to make sure that everyone can hear me. And how's my volume? All right, Tamara said that she can actually hear me. Is my volume good, Tamara? All right, KM said it's good. All right, awesome. Perfect. Then we got some good volume here. Well, let us get started. Welcome to another Black Heights live stream, guys. I hope you guys have had a wonderful, happy holidays. I am Antoine Wade, founder and CEO of Black Heights, where we train, coach, mentor you to climb the ladder. And in today's live stream, guys, I'm going to be discussing how I got started into real estate. So, guys, as you can see, I am not in my own home. I'm actually in my mother's basement. So you may hear some footsteps of the kids running around upstairs, doing a little bit of shouting here and there, but you just have to live with it, just like I have to live with it tonight. We are here still in Madison, Wisconsin, spending some quality time with the family. Our time is coming close to an end. We'll be leaving here on Saturday, and I think it's going to wrap up a whole month and I believe a week that we've been in the Wisconsin area between my wife's family as well as my family. So come on in the chat. We got Dizzle here, ladder climbers. We got Miss Patricia Wade here. We got Tamara Wade in here. We also got KM in here as well. So guys, I recently completed a goal of mine. One of my goals this year was to acquire a total of 3 rental properties. And I completed that goal on the 17th of December. I closed on my first multi-unit house. It's a duplex, and it is a really good property. So I posted this on Facebook of the property, and I received a lot of DMs. I received a lot of questions regarding How do I get started into real estate? How did you get started into real estate, Antoine? What are some resources that I will need in order for me to read up on real estate and to gain wealth, right? So that's what this video tonight is about, or this live stream tonight is about. It's about me sharing my knowledge, me giving you guys how I have done it, and a Q&A session for you guys to ask me questions as well too. And I might even have a call-in show tonight with one of my good brothers who is a realtor of mine and have really been a mentor in the real estate game to me as well too. If he's able to jump on, I will send the link towards him. But also, if he's not able to come on and you guys want to come on, I'm going to give you an opportunity to come on and talk live with me as well. NC Worker, welcome to the chat, guys. Welcome to the chat. Do me a favor, all of you. I just got monetized on YouTube, and it's going to be very important for you guys to continue to support the channel. And a free way to support the channel is by liking the video. So when you come into the chat, like the video, guys. Like it. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button if this content is what you like to see and what you like to continue to see. And if you have a question, leave it in the chat as well. But you can also super chat your questions into. There's a button that's in the chat area that has a $sign on it. You can click it, and what that does is that helps me support the channel. It's like a donation. It's like an offering going to the Black Heights Company. So that's another way that you can interact with me on this live stream. So let me get started, guys. Let me get started. Again, some of the questions from the post was, how much money do I need to get started? Can you provide some resources that I can review to get started? How much money? Where did you get started? What are the benefits of investing into real estate? And these are all the areas that I'm going to be discussing with you guys tonight. So let me get started with the first one. How much money do I need to get started? Well, I'm going to walk you guys through my journey and how I got started. But the question is loaded. And what I mean by that is how much money you need to get started really depends on the market that you are going to be entering and the deal that you are going to be getting. So in my situation, I started investing into real estate in 2018. I had a significant size savings that I was comfortable with using it towards something to diversify the level or the number of assets that I had. So I'm already invested into a 401k. My wife has a 401k. I have my own IRA that I contribute to. I max it out every single year. And I'm sitting on some additional cash because we had sold a house prior to 2018 when we got started. So I first said, what am I going to use this money for? And I started to do some day trading and did quite well at day trading, made some more money, but also at the same time realized that that wasn't anything that was going to be a sustainable way for me to invest my money without losing it, because I started to lose. And then I said, okay, well, I need to find a way to increase my wealth. And I came across real estate. Now, real estate is something that I've been around for quite some time. I used to live with my uncle, Dave, in high school, who is a very successful real estate agent here in Madison, Wisconsin. And I knew he was in real estate, and I knew he was very successful. But I never really thought that I had an opportunity to get into real estate until I had a good size savings. Now, a good size savings is where you want to start, but also it really depends on the market that you are going to get into. So my first thought after I had lost some money into stock trading and day trading, I wanted to put my money into something that I was going to be able to physically see. So I started to look online using a resource called the Bigger Pockets podcast. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what that is because I'm going to share my screen. And I think this is one of the sites that has the most information collected into one area that I've seen yet today. It has literally everything from what markets you want to go into, how much money you need to save. It answers a lot of the questions that I had and that I needed to feel comfortable with investing my dollars into real estate and learning about real estate. So as you can see, in this screen right here on bigger pockets, if you look under the trending tab and trending discussions, people have questions like best states to invest for cash flow 2020, my first commercial apartment building, turnkey rentals in 12 plus states. These are all questions that people have that you can go to and get answers to. And also you can ask questions and get those answers as well. This is a phenomenal resource for me. And this is what really helped to push me and launch me into investing into real estate myself. Let me get on track. So I started to dig around into bigger pockets. I started to look for areas of where potentially my level of money that I was willing to invest would actually work for me. So I said, I only have about $40,000 to invest. Okay. That's what I was comfortable with investing at that time. So $40,000, buying a home in a conventional mortgage is a decent size down payment. If you think about 20%, that's $100,000 house. If you think about $40,000, that means that's a $200,000 house. Now, since this was going to be my first investment, there was no way I was going to invest in a $200,000 house at that point in time. So I said, let me find a way that I can actually reduce that amount as well too. So I started looking on bigger pockets. And I came across what you see here is turnkey rentals. And what turnkey rentals are they are homes that people have rehabbed, renovated, and they're selling it to people like me, people like you, so that you can buy them. And they typically come with a tenant inside already. So you're basically purchasing a home and you're also purchasing the tenant inside of it. And basically on day one, after you purchase the home, you will be cash flowing. At least that's the premise behind it. So I thought that was fantastic because that meant that I didn't have to do a lot of the work. Basically, somebody is putting a nice little house together, bringing me a tenant, doing all that work, and I would just come by, buy it, and start cash flowing on day one. The percentage is not so high, but I figured 4%, 5% annual returns on the dollars that I'm going to be spending, that's still not bad. Stock markets on the worst in years probably don't see that. But, this year, of course, it has been quite well. But at least that was my mindset going into it. So I searched a bunch of areas and I came across a site called Nareda, and I'm going to show that one in here as well too. So bigger pockets led me to a site called Nareda, and Nareda is a turnkey website or real estate investment website that basically talks about all of the markets that exist and where there's a lot of turnkey rentals are. And it gives a whole bunch of information about different states where you're going to get some of the best returns and so forth, right? And it has some turnkey providers that are on here that you can contact and reach out to, see their properties, go and visit them, see what kind of work they do to see if you actually want to pull a trigger and invest. So it's a one-stop shop for basically all turnkey rentals. Went on the site, did a huge search into the different markets. As you can see under this market tab, they have the different markets in here. So Atlanta, Birmingham, Cape Coral. And I seriously think that this is one of the best sites out here because they do a huge market analyzation and they give you the facts and the details about where to invest, where people are moving to, the job rates, all that stuff. So one-stop shop. Let me do this. Billy Rowe, what is up, my brother? Thank you so much for the offering. I really appreciate that. Wayman Brown, thank you so much for the offering. Mrs. Tamaway, my sister who's upstairs. Thank you so much for the offer, and I really appreciate that. Billy Rowe, you are so gracious, my man. I appreciate you. Billy Rowe with the offering of $100,000. Not, well, I said 100,000. I mean $100. Now, I must say this: if I was in my home, I would drop a bomb on you right now, Billy, because this is a wonderful. I really do appreciate that, sir. And thank you so much for your offering in tonight's live stream. Billy Rowe is a good friend of mine, guys, and he is an actual wonderful supporter. I support him as well, too. And he is a guy who is full of knowledge. Let me continue back to this live stream. So Nareda led me to the market of St. Louis, where I was very much attracted into the cost of entry into St. Louis. So there was a low barrier cost there. So I wanted to invest in a place that had a low entry, meaning that I didn't have to invest as much capital in order for me to get started. Not only that, it is a state, the state of Missouri, that is landlord friendly. Not only that, the population is pretty high in African Americans. Not only that, it is a growing city in St. Louis County. Not only that, it is a place where millennials are moving and they're starting to become a tech city. And we also had friends into the St. Louis area as well. And every time I went to go visit that place, I actually liked St. Louis. So I started looking at St. Louis. So I went to go visit St. Louis and checked out one of the turnkey providers. And let me just tell you this. When you go and look at products that people have online, the pictures online typically show that the work is pretty darn good. However, when I went there, I saw the work was actually pretty shoddy, and I said, you know what? I don't know if this is going to be worth the investment. I think it's overpriced. So during that time, I met with the person who works for the turnkey rental place. Her name was Lynn, and she was also the property manager and also the person that was responsible for helping to get the work done. So I asked her, is this house worth investing? And she said, it depends on what you're looking to get from a return perspective, but she also gave me some really good information behind the scenes as well, too. And she was an African-American sister who was actually looking out for me as well, too. So I basically leveraged her to see another property because she was connected with other realtors. And this is soft skills, guys. This is important because when you meet somebody for the first time and you make them feel comfortable enough to give you the details of a business endeavor that you're getting ready to get into, that she's in, but also at the same time that she's working for somebody, right? When you do that, you have to be able to connect to somebody in order for them to give you that level of information. And that's where soft skills come in at. And it was me having an opportunity or having the ability to create a connection with her and for her to disclose that information, knowing that I'm a first-time investor and I also want to continue to invest in the area. So she helped me out and she let me see another property. And I said, well, can you do the same sort of work that you're doing for this company inside of this property? She said, yes, Mr. Wade, I certainly can. Okay, well, can you manage this property and what will it cost and so forth? So I made the decision that day after I saw a place to basically buy the house. And this was just in one meeting with her and me flying to St. Louis to see the product itself. A lot of people, what you find out is when they're doing their first real estate deal, especially if they're investing out of state of where they live at, is they don't go and see it. They don't go and see it. I think that's insane, especially if it's something that is worth so much money. For you not to go and see exactly how it looks, what the neighborhood looks like and so forth. But there's a lot of people that choose not to do it and they end up getting ripped off. So I wasn't going to be that person. I got ripped off. So anyway, Lynn was the person that really helped me in this situation. Now, after I made the decision to buy this home, I had to connect with a realtor. So I connected with the realtor using realtor.com, and They connected me within a matter of 5 minutes. Only needed the realtor to help me close this deal. Not very much negotiation. The house was listed for somewhere in the 70s. I actually put an offer into it for about 45. We worked to get it at 48.5, 48,500. And I had enough money to do any sort of renovations to this place that I needed to do. It was a quite nice house, a nice house. As a matter of fact, I will show you guys what the house actually looks like. Let me do this. This is my first property that I bought. Let's go to this, and I'll do this real fast and show you guys what it looks like, and also be able to explain to you guys the types of rentals that I actually look for, because a lot of people had questions. Okay, well, Antoine, are these Section 8 homes, or these homes are in the ghetto and so forth like that? Because you think about it, a $48,000 house, typically if you live in a major city, that's a shack. If you live in California, that's a shack, but it's not. These are really nice homes in really nice areas. So this is the first property that I ever bought. 2-bedroom, 1 bath. 2-bedroom, 1 bath, but it has a basement in it that had a half a bath, and it also has a storage area and basically an unfinished basement. So when I look for properties, I look for properties that are either 2-1, 2-1.5, 3-2, and 3-1. Single family homes. Single family homes for me is what I am interested in and what I got started in. And I think that when you have a single family home, you can basically, well, my process is to add an additional room to it. So in this one right here, it was a 2-1 or 2-1.5. I added another bedroom into the basement and made that half bathroom into a full bathroom. So it is a 3-2 now. I understood what the market rent was going to be in that area, and I was able to command for it to be a certain rate because I had did the work. Now I needed money to do the work. So not only did I have to spend a 20% down payment on the 48.5, I had to have the cash to do the renovations. Now, Lynn was a person that really helped with the renovations. She is a person that is our property manager and our godsend. I can tell you this right now, because typically nobody hits a home run the first time they go and look at a property who's never done it before, and also can find a property manager that has connections that can actually have the repair work and the contractor work and manages that piece as well too. And that's what Lynn has been to us. And that's how I have been able to have a good amount of success on the first place that I bought. And I've since then have been able to duplicate that. So T-Will Line Man for sure, or for hire, says, I'm in St. Louis right now, my hometown. We are known as a fast shrinking big city in America. Yes, it is weird because St. Louis City, it is shrinking. St. Louis County seems to be growing. It is a interesting city, 12-line man for hire. I love it though. Lots of opportunity, and the places where I invest is in the Ferguson area. So again, let me get back to those pictures and show you guys. You know, this is one of them right here. We also have, oh, let me get back there. Sorry. This is it right here. Let me show you the quick pictures. All right. So this is the front of the house. This is what the inside looked like. I did some work in here, changed up the floors. This is what the kitchen looked like. So it's a decent property, guys. It wasn't anything that was in a bad area. And I'll show you something awesome as well that realtor provides you, right? So this doesn't look the rooms are still the same, of course, but the floors are different. The bathroom is completely different. The deck is completely different. That's stained. We cleaned up the shrubbery in the backyard. We pull up the clothes hangers. We got rid of that grill and so forth. So this is my first property that I bought in St. Louis. Fantastic place. The highest return property that I have to date. And I'll show you guys some other ones as well too when we get to that part of this live stream. But appreciate you guys for joining the chat. As I mentioned when you guys came into the chat, do me a favor. If you like this video, do hit the like button, share it as well. That's how you can actually show support to the actual channel. Nietzsche says, haha, lovely. I'm buying 3 properties in 2021. That's what's up, Nietzsche. You have to do that, man. Start doing that, my man. It's very important to invest in yourself. It's also very important to increase your wealth. And that's what real estate does. So I kind of talked about how much money do you need to get started. Again, that is relative to the area that you are going to be going in. I also shared with you some resources that you can actually use to be able to find the different areas where you want to invest. If you want to look into turnkey, if turnkey is your thing, you can use the narrator site. If you want to invest into a place like South Carolina and want to understand who are some of the realtors, the people that you can contact, you can look on Bigger Pockets and you can search within there and you can connect, you can meet with people. So it is a fantastic resource for you. And it is a resource that I use just about every day. So one of the questions I also got was property managers, because somebody that I know right now is actually investing into real estate and they live in South Carolina, and they wanted to know about property managers. Property managers are wonderful. I have one. It allows me to sleep at night. It allows me to not think about some of the things that are going on. Are they good? They are fantastic if you have a good one. Again, everything takes vetting. I was able to get lucky to find one who has been able to help me and take care of the rentals that I have. One of the questions that came up also was, how much do property managers cost? Well, I think that's relative as well too. My property manager cost me $80 per unit per month. It is $80 per unit per month. Now, I was speaking to one of my Georgia Tech classmates last week, and he's investing into South Florida, and he says his property manager charges him $70 per unit per month. And I said that, wow, I wish mine can actually do that. He was like, wow, so I actually am getting a good deal. He thought that $70 per unit per month was actually expensive. But I'm paying 80 and she does a fantastic job. So I'm going to keep it there. And looking at Bigger Pockets, that's about average. That is about average. So now what do I look for in properties? I look for single family homes. That is what I learned when I first started to invest, single family homes that I can actually do a bit of renovation to and increase rent. So in a 2-1, typically a rent on something like that would be around, like, I don't know, $650. I was able to make it to a 3-2, and right now I'm commanding about $1,000 per month on this place. So I invested about $60 and I put in, or I bought it for $48,500. I put in a good amount for the renovation. Total cost was about $60,000, and I am returning about $12,000 per year on that, which is a very good cap rate, above 12%. And that is something that I've been actually able to repeat. Now, my last property that I bought, I wanted to expand, and I went for a multi-family duplex. And I want to talk to you guys about how I was actually able to pull that off as well too. Before I get there, I'm going to talk about the second family, or the second rental that I actually bought. So when I was in the process of finding my next rental, so I gave you guys a story about the first rental. Now I'm actually in the process of finding a second rental, because what you're going to learn about real estate is, if you are able to have success at it doing what is known as the BRRRR method. If you look on Bigger Pockets, you are going to understand what the BRRRR method is. You can actually search it. It's called BRRRR. And what the BRRRR method is buying, renovating your house, renting it out, and next thing you know, you will be refinancing it. So that's what I did to basically a flawless execution on my first property. I bought the property, I renovated, I rented it out, and then I refinanced it. So after you do your renovations to your property, then most of the time, if you do a pretty good job at renovations. You are increasing the value of your house. And then 6 months after that, after you have somebody living in it for quite some time, you can actually refinance it. And once you refinance it, that means that your property has increased. So that means you have equity. And what you can do is you can cash out on that refinance and have that cash that you put into it. So let's just say I put in 12,000 into it. I'm able to get that 12,000 back out to put towards a down payment on another property. So I was able to execute that just fine on my first house that I actually bought in St. Louis. And I started to look at another property this year. It was another single family home. It was in Ferguson as well, very close to the first property that I purchased. And let me just show you this. So this is the first property. One of the things I love about Realtor is this. When you look at crime, because a lot of people ask me, okay, well, are you investing into the hood? What class of properties are you investing in? What types of homes are you investing in? And I'm a person that I invest in areas that are working class, meaning they are a class B or above type of a property. If you see from this shade on here, the lighter are the areas that have better schools, that have less crime. The darker areas are the areas that have more crime and so forth. So as you can see from the first rental that I bought, it's actually in an area that would be considered not the best, but also not the worst. So that's that one. Let me go to the chat. Looks like somebody had something in the chat. Mr. Wayman said, I went to St. Louis once about 15 years ago. It felt relaxing somewhat compared to here in Buffalo. I visit again. It is an awesome city. I love St. Louis. Definitely a place to invest. And I am on my way back there when we drive back to Austin in a couple of days from now. Now, Mr. Rose said this. Have you done anything in the realm of real estate investing through an LLC? I am going to get there, Mr. Rowe. I am going to get there and answer that question for you, sir. Tim says, why single family homes instead of townhouses? Well, single family homes for me, Tim, low cost of entry. I had to get my experience. I had to get my feet wet. So when you're investing into a single family home, typically the cost is a little bit less than what you would invest into a multifamily home or a duplex. And plus, when you are investing into a single family residence versus a multifamily residence, the down payment is more on the multifamily. So again, it's all about the financing and the cost of capital here. So typically on a convention loan for an investment property, it is 20%. But on a multifamily property like a townhouse or a duplex or something like that, it is 25%. So also, my biggest thing is I want it to be a place for a family. So a place where there has a yard, a place where there is a driveway they can park the car, and that typically doesn't come with townhomes or things like that. So that's the reason why it's decided to invest into single family homes versus things like townhouses or duplex initially. Now I am in multifamily now, and I'll talk about that in a minute as well too. So let me get here. Let me get back to my notes, guys. So I invest in properties in the B class, working class areas, 2 bed, 1.5 bath, 3 bed, 1 bath, 3 bed, 2 baths. My cap rate, and this is another term that I want you guys to remember. And your cap rate is basically your capital rate, is your capital rate of return. It is how much income are you generating off of the investment. So in my situation in the first place, I am generating, let's just say revenue, about $12,000 a year, meaning $1,000 per month on that place. I put in 60,000, so that cap rate is quite high. Now, when you pull out all the other expenses and operating expenses and paying your property manager and things like that, of course, that drops it down. That is the real actual income. My cap rate for my first property is about a 12.2%, better than the stock market. So it was actually a home run. Let's get in here as well too. Let's talk about BRRRR. So I talked about BRRRR, which is buy, renovate, refinance, and then, or buy, renovate, rent, and then refinance. Buy it first, then you renovate it by putting your money into it, getting somebody to do the work, and then you rent it out. You find a tenant, you work with a property manager to do that, and then you refinance it. In here, also talked about the recommended resources, Bigger Pockets, Narrator Real Estate. Both I have shown within this live stream. And let's get to Mr. Rowe's question here. Have you done anything in the realm of real estate investing through an LLC? So real estate investing through an LLC, it's a bit different because what banks will choose to do is treat it as a commercial loan. So what I have done and what others have done and what you will see if you start to do some research within Bigger Pockets about the best way to go about buying rental properties, you want to finance it under your name. So I finance every one of my rental properties a conventional way under my name. And then what I do is after about 6 months of seizing it, after rental income is coming in, I then transfer that property into my LLC. Therefore, I'm able to get a better interest rate. I'm able to save more money because of that. And I'm able to do pretty much just as many loans as I need to, while being fully backed by me. But I do have the safe bets of having it under an LLC just in case something was to happen and somebody was to come after me. But it does take some time in order for you to transfer that from your personal name to your LLC. Again, it's all about the finances, Mr. Rowe. I am in a partnership with some friends, and we do invest into real estate. We will be investing into real estate through using commercial terms under an LLC. But again, you have to make sure that LLC is established, meaning that it has to be established in business for quite some time. You have to be able to show that it is making money. And then typically what happens on the commercial deals like that, you're able to buy like packages of rental property. So in our case, there's a guy that's selling 3 properties that he's getting rid of because of a divorce. We can then work with a bank to get commercial financing. It's going to be about 25%. And we can actually go and buy that property under the actual LLC. But I think the best way to do it, especially when you're getting started, is to do it under your name. All right, let's do this. What else do I have in here that I wanted to touch upon? So market research is very, very important. It always comes back down to finance, guys. I live in Austin, Texas. It is a fantastic place to live. It is a fantastic place to invest. But when you buy a place in Austin, Texas, you're going to be buying a place that is probably around $250,000 at a minimum to all the way up to $500,000. That means that you have to have 20% on that. That means you have to have a good reserve or good savings in order for you to acquire that, do some work to it, and be able to rent that place out. So for me, a place like Austin, Texas, although it is a fantastic place, a fantastic city to live in, a fantastic place to invest in if you have the dollars, it is overpriced for me at this point in time based on what I want to invest, as well as the amount of success that I'm having within St. Louis with a low cost of entry, still able to get a good cap rate and still able to grow my overall wealth. So there's 2 strategies to investing into real estate that I've determined. One is cash flow, which I'm choosing to do, meaning that I'm able to get a certain amount of dollars every single month to cover my mortgage, as well as pay for my expenses, as well as give me additional money into my pocket on a monthly basis. So let's just say my first property that I bought, that is income generating $272 per month. What can I do with $272? I can pay a phone bill. I can do a little bit of grocery shopping. I can pay my Netflix bill and so forth. So when you have enough of these properties over time, think about how much money that you are getting and how much income you're generating when you just wake up at night or wake up in the morning and not have to do the work. So that's one of the reasons why I started to invest into real estate. I wanted to, one, diversify my assets. I wanted to, two, I wanted to have passive income. I wanted to wake up and all of a sudden my net worth in my bank account has gone up. And that's what real estate does. It allows you to receive money from a cash flow perspective on a monthly basis, but it also allows you to build equity over time as you pay down your mortgage or as the property value increases over time. Now, a place like Austin, Texas, there is a different sort of strategy to Austin than it would be in St. Louis. St. Louis is more of a cash flow market. Austin, Texas is more of an equity market. Equity means that if you're investing in equity markets, it means that the equity typically grows a lot faster. So Austin has been known on a yearly basis to increase its property or its house values by 11%. That's a lot. So if you buy a house at $200,000 and you live in that house for a good, 5 years, you're talking about 11% every single year. You're sitting on a nice chunk of change, right? But also when you go into equity markets, it is very expensive. It's costly. If you don't have the dollars to invest, you're not going to be able to do it. So I wanted to throw that out there and show you and explain to you guys the different principles of equity. And here's another example as well, too. So when we were in San Jose, California, we rented our house. It was a $1.2 million place. And our rent was about, let's just say $4,700 on a monthly basis. And the landlord had owned that home for about 7 years. He paid around $700,000 for that house when he bought it. 5 years later, when we're into it, it's worth $1.2 million. That's equity, right? That has to, that rate of return was ginormous. Now, with the value of that house, he wasn't able to cash flow actually at all. The rent that we were paying basically was able to cover the mortgage and so forth. He was actually a property manager. But if you think about that, like that's a completely different strategy. That strategy does work. It's just you have to have a lot of money in order for you to do that. I found something that works for me. It allows me to cash flow at the same time as increase my wealth. And that's why I choose the cash flow investment strategy versus the equity investment strategy. Now let's talk about Section 8 tenants. Section 8 tenants, from my perspective, have been actually fantastic. I have my first property is a Section 8 tenant. Did I go into it wanting to have a Section 8 tenant? No. My property manager recommended this person to this home. She came by and saw the work that we were putting into it. She is a woman who has an older child and has some grandkids. And we screened her. We screened her very well. Everything came back just fine. And she's been living there ever since. A lot of people think that having a Section 8 tenant may be negative to your property or things like that. Even during COVID, I haven't had to worry about anything at all. One thing about Section 8 is this: you're going to consistently get a monthly check. Okay, that is something that Section 8 does because the government is actually spending or contributing to her owning that property. So you're going to get a consistent cash flow every single month. Another good thing that I think about Section 8 is that every year they do a re-inspection on your place. So it gives you an opportunity to keep up on the maintenance. One thing I've learned with real estate investing, a lot of the times, if you go traditional, which my second property is traditional, you tend to let that person live in there for a long time without doing the yearly maintenance if they don't have to, or if they don't call or anything like that. If nothing's happening, you don't typically do anything with the property. You just collect your cash, and before you know it, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line, you had this big leak that was going on sometime and you have the big repair versus And when you have Section 8, they come in every single year. They look at all the items that need to be fixed. They allow you to go and fix it. Then you get recertified and so forth. And the tenant's able to live there again. Or either the tenant moves out or you can cancel the contract. But it is a way that you can get consistent income on a monthly basis, as well as it is a way that you, or guaranteed income on a monthly basis. And it is a way that you can keep up with the maintenance on your property. Now, there are some cons to Section 8 as well, meaning that you're going to have some people that you may have to deal with going through the process. But then again, I think that's the reason why you need to have a good screening process. Do background checks. You want to also make sure that your property manager is doing her due diligence as well too. So I have only good things to say about Section 8, and I have Section 8 tenants as well as non-Section 8 tenants as well too. Have I had, or have I been impacted by COVID with evictions or anything like that? I have not. That is something that I am happy about. I have not. Nothing this year with COVID has caused any issues with the properties that I own 100%, as well as the properties that I don't own 100% because I am investing with other partners and things like that too. So COVID did not impact me. A lot of landlords were impacted by COVID, but it did not impact me at all. Let's go to the chat. Tamara Wade said, what is the biggest challenge you've faced so far since you began investing in real estate? I would probably say the biggest challenge that I've faced so far is dealing with the headaches of having to pay out of pocket when something does come up, right? Meaning that sometimes your property manager runs things by you. I have a certain amount of dollars that I allow her to spend without asking me for it. Anything, any repairs that's under basically $50, she doesn't have to ask. Anything over that, she has to ask. And you know, in one or two of my properties, I've had to have the what do you call it? The sewer lines actually flushed out because they were starting to flood because of roots and things like that got into the pipes. So typically, it's during those times that I've just had some challenges with, because of course it takes a diagnosis process, and if you get somebody out there who doesn't know how to completely diagnose the issue, it can cost you a little bit more money. And I would also say that the tenants don't bother me and haven't bothered me at all. Hearing the stories about my tenants to my property manager, that can get a bit on my nerve, but there really hasn't been any big challenge that I faced thus far since investing into real estate. And a lot of that has a lot to do with, I don't have to deal with it because I have a great property manager. I have a great team. It's very important to have a great team. Let's go here. Mr. Rose said, we have our first rental going on the market in mid-Jan, 9% cash flow, already looking for the next one. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome? And I'll talk about this too. What are some of the benefits, not only on the cash flow side and the building your wealth side, there's other benefits as well too that I'm going to get into when it comes to investing. Let's talk about, Mr. Houston Phenom. What is up, my brother? How are you doing? My parents have been in real estate since I was born. Got my first investment property in August using internship money as a down payment. That is fantastic, Houston Phenom. I appreciate you stopping through and supporting us. And I would say this, that is fantastic. Getting your first investment property under your belt, you're going to learn so much from that. You're going to be able to generate some cash flow as well too. And you are instantly increasing your wealth because it is an asset, guys. It is an asset. So one of the other things that I missed out on too, besides the bigger pockets and the narrative, is the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. A really good book. I read it audio, using Audible, and it just basically talks about how a poor dad, which is his dad, who had a large amount of education, and he was a person that just didn't know how to use finances to his benefit. What I mean by that is he was more of the mindset that you would work all your life and you would take on these expenses, things that are just about liabilities, right? Then he got educated, he got introduced to a guy who was a rich dad, who wasn't rich at the time, but his mindset was a little bit different. His mindset was to acquire assets and to leverage those assets to help pay out down those liabilities and so forth. And when you own more assets and you have liabilities, that increases your net worth, that increases your wealth and so forth. So different mindsets. But that book is actually a fantastic book, and it will really structure your mindset into, or help you look at ways to diversify your income, also to help you to grow your overall wealth. And that was one of the trigger points for me as well, too. As I said, I have a W-2 job. I have this YouTube channel. I have Black Heights. I invest in real estate. So those are different income streams as well, too, that pays me and also allows me to receive money and so forth. And not only do I have a W-2 job, but I also have the 401k and the IRA and so forth. So Tiffany also said, do you think you will ever get into flipping properties? I haven't done flipping properties at all, but there's a lot of people that have done flipping properties. If my Facebook friend, my man Mike Corvino is in here and he wants to come on, I will certainly let him in to talk about flipping properties, but that has not been anything that I have done yet. Yes, I am interested into doing it, but I want to make sure that I am consistently able to create the same sort of process and create the same amount of success using single families and multifamilies. So on this property that I just bought in December, it is a multifamily. It is expected to have a very, very good cap rate. I have a tenant in it already that's helping me pay the mortgage. Yes, she's a bit of a challenge, but we're dealing with her. And the first unit is actually getting work done right now. So it is a fantastic place. And I'll show you guys this one as well. So this one is here. Well, I'll show you guys two of them here. I know I'm talking a lot, guys, but I am doing a little bit of teaching tonight. So this is the second one. As you can see, it's another single family home, 3-bed, 1-bath, nice garage. Tenant is paying me quite decent on this one as well too. So the cap rate on this one is a little bit over 7%, but you can also see here that the area that is in a B class area. So again, no high crime. So dark orange is high crime. This is a one shade below the areas that are considered to be A class. So this is a B class property. And I like realtor. That's the thing about realtor that I like. It actually shows you your crime map and so forth. So fantastic place. And the one that I just bought, the multifamily, is this one. And I'll show you guys a little bit of pictures on it. We're actually having some work done on it right now. Mrs. Lynn is doing a fantastic job on this one. And she sent me an update this morning that I will probably share with you guys right now. So this is the one I just purchased. It's the first multifamily that we have. So it has a unit on the bottom level, a unit on the top level. The top level is fully rented right now by a lady who's been living there for about 7 years. She's fantastic. And we're working on getting the bottom unit ready to rent out right now. So if you look at this place, this is what the first unit looks like. A nice little living room when you walk in, a little dining room. The hardwood floors are fantastic. The paint job is really good as well too. If you look at the bathrooms, bathroom's decent. I'm going to do some work in here. Then you look at the, there is 2 bedrooms, and I just fled through that one. But there are 2 good sized bedrooms with closets in there as well too. So it's 2-1, 2-1. This is the kitchen. Kitchen is outdated, of course, and that's where I'm going to be doing some work in here as well too, to command higher rents. And that's another thing about real estate, guys. You can force improve your equity by doing things like repairing the kitchen or renovating the kitchen doing things like painting the walls and things like that, and having it reappraised. So this is a sunroom that you can actually use as an office. So it's a really nice property, and it is in a fantastic area as well too. If you look at the crime here, I would almost consider this to be pretty much an A area. It's actually right across from the University of Missouri St. Louis. It's actually a property, I would say. I would definitely consider it to be in a property here. So let me just do this. Oh, you can't see my screen, my wife says. Thank you. Okay, let me do this. I'm going to do that now. Now you guys can see my screen. Sorry about that. I'm over here chatting, and you guys can't see my screen. So here's the picture. Sorry, let me get back here. Thank you, babe, for the message here. So this is what the property looks like on the outside. I'll just flip through this. This is the front of the house. This is the one that I posted on Facebook. This is the side, full brick, updated roof. This is the living room when you walk into it. And it has a nice little dining room, hardwood floors. So it's a really nice property. 2 bed, 1 bath. Bathroom. Bedroom. Bedrooms are a good size. Here's the kitchen. The kitchen is outdated. This is where I'm actually putting quite a bit of work. This is a sunroom. A sunroom can actually be used as an office as well too. And this is the outside. It has a 2-car garage as well too. So, and it's actually fenced in. So as you can see, it's a nice property. And if you look at Realtor, as I mentioned, Realtor does a good job at showing you exactly where what the crime rate is of the investment property or the area that you're actually looking at homes in. Are you looking to purchase a home? This is what it looks like. So it's nice and light, nice and light. And this is the grid down here from low crime all the way up to high crime areas. Thank you for that, Miss Rowe, or Miss Wade. Sorry about that. Mr. Rowe, thank you for that one as well too. BK from the Rockies. I'm aiming to get my first rental property during 2021. Yes, sir. Go ahead and do it. I train UFC boxing and ping pong says, how was your experience at Georgia Tech MBA? That is a good question, but that isn't the topic of the discussion tonight. But I would say this, it was a fantastic experience at Georgia Tech. And anybody who wants to get an MBA from Georgia Tech, I recommend it. Fantastic school. I am an ambassador of the school, and I will tell anybody that they need to go to Georgia Tech if they're considering that school. Let's go to here one. Tips for the first-time home buyer. Yes, save. Make sure you have a good amount of money to put on a down payment on your property. If you don't have savings, you can work another job. Start a YouTube channel. Find a way how you can build a savings so that you can actually purchase your first rental property and then go and do it. Find the market that you're going to be going into so you know how much you're going to be saving or how much you have to save in the ballpark range, and just go and do it. Kayla Corvino. Hey, brother. Heard my name, didn't catch what you said. Yes, I was talking about Mr. Mike Corvino, and I said, Mike, you do flips. And that talked about, I don't flip yet, but it will be one day that I will be doing some flips on properties. One of the questions that came up in the chat was, am I going to ever get into flipping homes? And I said that I will. And I also said, I know that Mr. Mike Corvino does. And then if you wanted to come on, or if you wanted to say something, I will actually bring you on and you can talk about doing that. Billy Rose said, I can't see your screen. There you go. Very descriptive words. I know. Yeah, it's one of those nights, guys. It's one of those nights. So let me see what else I have in here that I wanted to touch on. If you guys have any questions, do send them to me. I wanted to talk about next what the benefits of real estate investing. There are quite a bit of them, right? When you have your first property, obviously we talked about cash flow. We're talking about the wealth, obviously, equity that you're going to get as you pay down your mortgage. But there's other benefits of real estate investing as well. which is tax breaks and incentives. So things like writing off your property tax, things of writing off your property insurance, your mortgage insurance, things like your property management fees, things like your property repairs, any capital improvements, any ongoing maintenance. So investing into real estate not just only provides you the equity and the wealth, but allows you to reduce your taxes, which is something that we all want to do. We want to reduce the amount of money that we're paying to the government. So what real estate has done for me that has been very beneficial, it has allowed me to reduce the taxes. I have a good paying W-2 job and I'm bringing in income, but also at the same time, at the end of the year or the end of the day, I can write down my property tax, my property insurance, my mortgage interest, my property management fees, my property repairs. And with it being an LLC, I can write down my marketing expenses as well. If I'm doing any sort of marketing, my professional fees, such as my using an accountant. I can write down business equipment like my using my laptop or my printer and things like that. I can write off my travel expenses if I'm just talking about real estate or anytime I visit real or St. Louis. Anytime I'm there for my properties. So that is a job, that is work. So I'm actually able to deduct my business meals when I go and take my property manager out. I'm able to expense the car when I'm renting while I'm there. I'm able to expense all my meals and my entertainment as well too. So that's the other benefit of investing into real estate, guys. I wanted to make sure that that was crystal clear as well too, because it not only provides you the wealth building that you can actually do, it actually cash flow as well too, but it also allows you to reduce your tax burden as well. Okay. Let's chat when you're ready. I don't have a YouTube sign on, so use my wife's. I just saw a quote that said, landlords grow rich in their sleep. You're right. And that is what I am working on doing too. And that is what real estate does as well too. Great quote there. Great quote. Let's do this. I am going to open this up for anybody who wants to ask any questions. They can come online and they can have a conversation and talk about what their experience is, if they have any experience, whether it's flipping and so forth. I got to say this, guys. If Mr. Lawrence Barry is watching, I would love for him to come on as well too. So one thing I didn't get into, I raved about my property manager. Absolutely fantastic. Does a lot of work for me. But one of the most important things as well that you are going to need, and I should make this very important, because the first time I bought a property, I used a property or a real estate agent from a realtor. And she was very helpful in allowing me to accomplish what I needed to accomplish. But then again, when it came to going towards the second property, she wasn't very good. She wasn't an investor. And I used realtor again, and I came across a realtor named Mr. Lawrence Barry. Lawrence is not only a friend of mine, Lawrence is a real estate investor. Lawrence is a mentor to me as well. I talk to Lawrence just about every single day. And I developed that relationship with Lawrence by working with him on my second property and this last property as well. He is a fantastic guy. He knows the St. Louis market, and he has been a godsend for me as well too. If you guys, check out my Instagram, he's actually on there. If you check out my Facebook, he's actually on there as well. He's been doing real estate for a long time, and he does a fantastic job of helping me to find deals, helping me to understand exactly how I need to structure a deal. Not only that, what I should be looking for in the areas that I should be looking for when it comes down to investing. So he's my real estate strategist. You want to make sure, guys, when you're investing into real estate, especially in the areas that you're not living in, that you have a good, solid team. And that's the most important thing that I can tell you, is have a solid team, because you're going to need people. And that's where soft skills come in at. learning how to communicate with people, learning how to build relationships with people. And you need to be able to do that in a short amount of time. Now, it took me about 3 to 6 months to be able to do that. I would say even longer than that, from the time that I bought my first one to the time that I bought my second one. It took a little bit longer than that. And then buying the second one, I was actually able to meet Lawrence, and we've just clicked. And ever since, we've been working together. And I do think that he's one of the best realtors in the city of St. Louis. Good stuff. I train. Good stuff. My realtor was trying to sell me a house that was a total mess, saying nothing is wrong. Hired an inspector and had rats in the attic. Definitely 20 plus. Yes, that's why having inspections on all your properties is a must. That is part of the process. Some people do skimp out on that, but I do not. And it allows you to get rid of properties that have issues with them. An inspection is going to tell you a lot about what the history of that property is, so that it's going to give you the confidence to either, one, pull the trigger because it is a big investment, or either two, say, no, I'm going to move on to something else. But again, guys, find a good realtor. Lawrence has been my realtor, and he has been a brother to me. I have a solid team to the point where now that I've had quite a bit of success, that I've had other people wanting to partner in the St. Louis area as well, but also I have been able to recommend Lawrence to them. And not only that, Lawrence has a large amount of connections in the area to where he was able to provide me and connect me with people like the insurance, State Farm insurance, right? So I can actually have property insurance, and gives me a nice little rate on that. He's been able to provide me HVAC guys and things like that. And also, not only that, introduced me to a local bank where I actually built a relationship there, because that's another area that you're going to want to build relationships with people at, because they're going to be able to help you with the financing. And as they start to get things that's happening in the bank, they may say, Mr. Wade, you're a big time customer of ours. Do you want to look at this property that's off market and things like that? And Lawrence actually is able to bring me off market deals. My second property was an off market deal. It was part of a package. It was off market. It didn't hit there. We were able to get it at a price that I love that included a tenant. So it is important, very, very important, to have a good team around you when you were investing in real estate. Kayla Corvino, or Mike Corvino, says, always as use an inspector, even if the bank says it's not required. Absolutely, brother. I agree with that. Even if anybody says it's not required, use a inspector. It is important. Guys, what other questions do you have? Any other questions that you have? I know I was long-winded tonight, but I wanted to make sure that I communicate this and was able to give you guys some information on how I was actually able to do it. And this year itself, I'll do this. I'll share this with you guys as well, because I think it's important. When you are working on purchasing a property, and my second property that I did this year was in December. The first one I did this year was in August. And let me do this here. Let me just share my screen and show you something here. So let me stop sharing. I got to get used to this technology here. Okay, application window, boom. Let's do that here. Okay, I want to go here. Okay, so as you can see here, I closed on this property in August. Let me get my screen up here. Yes, it was the August the 7th, 2020. 3% interest rate. My mortgage on this property is, with everything included, $387 a month. My rents on this place is $925. So after everything is said and done, I'm able to cash flow close to around a little over $200 on this property itself. And then the next one, and guys, that's another thing about it being this time of what we're going through right now. Interest rates are super low, and it's important that you take advantage of the opportunities that exist out there. And I think, although it is a seller's market, it is important to, if you have the cash, to be able to do it. So this is the second property that I bought, or the 2 units, the duplex that we paid for this year, we got this year. This is Clearview, another 3% on this one. Of course, you put 25% down on this one right here, but I only paid $151 for that property, $151,000 for that property. It appraised at $189,000. So I got a steal of a deal on that property itself. Lawrence was one of the ones that helped me with that property as well. He did a fantastic job of helping me find it. And also helped me with wanting to invest in multifamilies, as well as just giving me some guidance into how to strategize on multifamilies as well too. So fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Let me get rid of that. Are galvanized pipes bad? I don't know. That's a good question. I train UFC. I would say this: do a search within Bigger Pockets and see if it's actually bad or not. I don't know if galvanized pipes are bad or not. That's something that I am not. I have not run across in the places that I have, and haven't had to have any repaired either. Ever consider building? It's better than flipping, in my opinion. Wow. No, that is a very good question, Mike. Ever consider building? It's better than flipping, in my opinion. I want to know more about that too, Mike. I'm going to reach out to you to find out more about that as well too. So I'm assuming you're talking about building a property. And once you build that property, you place a tenant into it, and you have that person pay down your mortgage. That is a interesting one right there. And I've heard of it done, but I haven't done that myself yet. I would think that it would be fantastic because you have the home warranty, you have the low additional cost of the repairs and things like that, because it is a brand new property. So you can get into a market that allows you to do that, and find and know that rents are going to allow you to have a good cap rate. I think that would be a good strategy as well. I just don't know of any markets, and I haven't even tried that yet myself, Mike. But that is good info. That is really good info, sir. Tamara says, all great information, bro. Think you should do another live on this topic. Wow, thank you. Thank you. Well, we are already at the 1 hour, 12-minute mark. Guys, do me a favor. If you haven't liked the video yet, like the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate the support. Guys, thank you so much for the super chats. I really appreciate that, Mr. Rowe. Will sent me a super chat in here, Mr. Tamara Wade. Thank you so much, guys. That really does help with the overall channel, and that does provide some support. It is an offering. I really appreciate you guys. If you thought this information was relevant, you thought it was helpful, do share the video. We really appreciate that, and that would actually help us grow and continue to do more like this. So Tamara said that it was great information. I really appreciate that, Tamara. Thank you guys so much again for your support. And let's do this. One more round of questions I would drop in there. So if there are no more questions within the next, I'm going to give it about 2 minutes, then I am going to end the stream, do a little cut and pasting, get rid of the first half of it, where I was just sitting there waiting for people to join, and then repost the video. Let's do that, guys. If you guys have any questions, do let me know. If you wanted to come on and chat too, do hit that link that I actually have posted in there as well. And you can jump on and talk. All right, let's see. And if you also want to support the Black Heights channel and the brand, check this out. Guys, go to the Black Heights merchandise store, where we have some apparel that you are going to like. Check it out. We got sweatshirts, things that'll keep you nice and warm. And this is on the Black Heights merchandise channel. on Teesprings. It's actually in the description of this video. We have a nice classic crew neck shirt where I'm actually rocking today. Nice and comfy. My sweatshirts are premium pullover hoodies. They are very, very nice as well too, very comfy. My cousin just picked up one and he talked about how comfortable it was, and I have quite a bit of them myself. So guys, another way that you can show support is check out the merchandise on the Black Heights channel. We want to continue to grow and also provide you guys the information that you need to continue to ladder climb. Mr. Rose said, always a pleasure, great content. And then Mr. Train looks like he had one last question, said, how much excess cash should you have after buying a house for future repairs? Oh, it looks like we also have Mike that came on as well too, so we can actually talk to Mike. How much extra cash do you have? 1 second, Mike, and I'll get you in here in a second, okay? He said, how much excess cash should you have after buying a house for future repairs? Well, as part of the deal, when you're going to be purchasing a house, you want to make sure that you are considering that as part of the deal as well too. So for instance, if you know that your place is going to, that you're going to be purchasing, if you know that it's going to need an extra $15,000 into repairs, you want to make sure that you actually have that in cash. So understand this, when you're going through that process of buying a property, you're going to have the inspector, you're going to have to do the negotiation, you're going to have all this extra stuff that you're going to need to have done on a property. And that determines and helps you determine what sort of, how much you're going to pay for it. And if there's a lot of work that needs to be done to that actual property, then you want to make sure that you have that in excess in order for you to have that completed. Now, is it to the exact? No, you want to make sure that you have a little bit over, because typically repairs is going to run over, at least in my experience. So if I thought it was going to be 15,000, end up being something like 17,000 or 16,000 or something like that. So just have a bit of a cushion there to have those repairs done, and also a little bit of cushion that you're going to run over. I've never gone under yet. So let's do this. Let's get Mike onto the stream, man. What's up, Mike? How are you doing, brother?
Hey, A-Train. It's been a long time.
I know, man. It's been a long time, man. Thank you for joining the chat.
I love it. Hey, I love what you're doing. It's wonderful what your program's doing. I love it.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. You know what? I'm looking forward to having a whiskey with you when I get down to Atlanta.
Whiskey and cigars anytime.
There we go. There we go. What do you have for us tonight, my man?
So you just touched on flipping and building, and that's really what I've done more of.
Yeah.
I've been successful with it. Like you, I also have a W-2 job that's nice and kind of helped me get into real estate. I would just caution you, if you don't have any background in construction or anything with that, because there's always more behind the curtain.
Yes, absolutely.
Contractors come in there with cost plus saying, hey, it's going to be roughly 10 grand to flip this place. Yep. And I'm just going to charge you 25% over materials. Well, it's never $10,000 worth of materials. So that, and then talking about the construction thing, I've got one full build under my belt now.
Wow.
It was actually a short-term rental market.
Okay. Talk about that. Explain what that is.
So short-term would be a VRBO, is probably the most, the biggest name in the industry, is where someone takes their second home or their vacation home and they actually put it on the market and you rent it like a hotel.
Okay.
Cleaning ladies come in, make your bed. I mean, it's the full experience, except you have that homely feel. You can cook, and it's a little bit more risk because you have a new family in there potentially every 3 nights.
Yeah.
But the cash flow is much higher, in my experience and from talking to other investors.
Yep.
So that was the market I built in up in North Georgia.
Very good. So cabins. So, and you've been doing cabins. I've been seeing the ones that you've posted on Facebook, man. They are some beautiful places.
I appreciate, all small, under 1,000 square feet. So very small. And I usually hold them for a year for tax purposes and then sell them off.
So your strategy, Mike, is build, obviously do short-term rentals on them. So allow people to experience that and then actually sell them off. So it's a flip, but it's also a short-term rental type of thing too.
Yeah.
What made you get into that? How did you just all of a sudden fall into that?
long story, maybe for another time, but to shorten it up, a family member had some property that he bought in the crash.
Okay.
He was having some problems with some other renters of not paying, so he needed to unfree that cash in those properties up in North Georgia to float these other properties till he can get tenants in, or something along those lines. I didn't ask too much.
Yeah.
So I ended up picking these properties up, and I'll just be honest with you, I picked them up for 15, and the tax value is about 30. So that be in a position to use that equity as my down payment.
Wow.
And, I'm making it seem really easy, but it was hell. At the time, I didn't own a home.
Yeah.
So I was trying to build an investment home and living in an apartment, and it just created all kinds of problems. But as you were talking about markets earlier, knowing your market you're getting into,
Right.
it's real good to know, especially because if you try to get into long-term rentals up there, it just wouldn't be successful.
Yep. That's a very good point, Mike. So tell me this: do you recommend people to look at that as an option, although it is quite difficult?
Yes, I absolutely would look into it, but be very cautious on a contractor. It can make or break you. I ended up getting in a deal where the burden was on him to stay under budget.
Yep.
It wasn't on me, and most builders will not do that. So if you're an honest builder like that will give you a solid price, I would say absolutely go that route, because you're going to have more equity walking into it. The repairs, the warranty. So yeah, it's something, but definitely do your research and have some cash on hand as well.
Awesome. No, that is something that I'm gonna have to look into as well, Mike. That is something that I haven't even thought about doing. I didn't even think that was even like an option out there. And that's why I love about this channel. I love about having friends like you who have done stuff that I haven't done yet. It can actually help me learn this stuff. It's not only that you're sharing it with me, but you're also sharing it with the audience as well too. Another way that you can actually build wealth, another way that you can actually generate cash flow. And it's real estate, and take advantage of the tax incentives as well too. Now, a quick question for you too, Mike. I'm assuming this is the last one I have for you. I'm assuming you can take care, or you still get the same tax advantages as you would if you were using the buy and hold strategy.
Yes,
for the year that you own it.
Yeah, there's definitely, especially when you convert to the because you can build and go into a long-term rental as well to recoup your investment. There are some tax advantages. I'm not a tax guy, but there is an issue that you need to look at, because during the build, if you're filing your taxes, none of that interest you pay during the build, which kind of goes off into when you're building, you don't pay a house payment. You pay a percentage of what you've drawn. So like my first payment for my build was like $28 I owed to the bank, when I hadn't taken any money to pay the contractor yet. So that's inventory. So all that tax you pay, you can't write off in that tax year, because it's considered inventory.
Got it.
I would say definitely talk to a CPA when it comes to taxes, not me. I help you out with the bank, the contractor, and the math, but I should probably do more.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, brother, man. As always, man, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us. Next time I'm in Georgia, we have to have a cigar. My brother just left last night. They drove all through the night, and they're in Georgia as well too, man. I'm looking forward to catching up, having a cigar and a glass of whiskey, man, or scotch, either one, bourbon or scotch, man.
I look forward to it too. It's been way too long. Let me know. Appreciate
it, brother. Appreciate it. You have a good rest of your night, brother.
You too.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that's the end of the stream. I hope you guys have enjoyed the content. Again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe if you're new here. And until next time, guys, peace.